session 2 of the Holy Spirit Stays, and today I'm looking at the day of Pentecost, the day that the Holy Spirit was poured out on Jesus' followers. This is something that had been promised by God right through the Old Testament. It was spelled out in Joel that he would pour out his Spirit on all people. It just shows that in all of history, God is there. He's working out his plans, and it's all in his timing. Now, the story of Pentecost is well known, but I think there are some things about it that we need to look at. Firstly, these followers of Jesus were given the commission to go out and to spread the good news of who Jesus was. But they were also told to wait in Jerusalem until they received the Holy Spirit. And I think that's the first thing we need to note. They were obedient. They didn't rush out in excitement. They had some exciting news, but they didn't just rush out and tell. In obedience, they waited until they received the power of the Holy Spirit. And I think that's something we need to take hold of, because we can get some great ideas, we can get very enthusiastic, but if we go out in our timing, not God's timing, if we go out in our strength and not God's strength, then we're going to spend a lot of effort for nothing. The second thing to note is that because they were celebrating the Jewish Feast of Weeks, they were all together in the one room, and that's when the Spirit came. They were together celebrating the Jewish feasts. In other words, they didn't rush off and leave the synagogue. They didn't forget the Jewish festivals. They remained faithful to them, because it was the synagogue and temple worship that had been established by God, and the festivals were his initiative. They didn't run off and start their own worship. They believed that, okay, the Jewish people didn't have it right, but the pattern had been set up by God, and so they stayed within the synagogue. It wasn't until the synagogue pushed them out that we began to get the forming of the church. Now, this has to say something to us about the way we feel about the church today. We can have a very life-changing experience of God, and the temptation is to just leave where we are, go and start up something new where we can be with people who've had similar experiences or think the same way as we do. But if God empowers us with his Holy Spirit, it's for a purpose. And the purpose is that we can show Jesus, demonstrate Jesus to the world. And that's the world in the church, just as much as the world out of the church. It's fine to start up something new, but it needs to be something in addition to the church. The other thing to note was that the response the disciples made to the infilling of the Spirit. They began praising God at the top of their voices, so much so that a crowd gathered to see what on earth was going on. They were making a spectacle of themselves, but they didn't care, because they were proclaiming the glory of God. Peter, who denied ever knowing Jesus when Jesus was arrested, is now standing up in front of a crowd of thousands and proclaiming who Jesus was. Not only that, he's laying it on the line to them that they were the people who crucified him. Had a tremendous response that day. His boldness brought 3,000 people to conversion. Pentecost is not just a lovely story about the birthday of the church. We can celebrate it one day and then forget it for the rest. Pentecost is the power of God breaking into human history, breaking into human lives. It's the power of Jesus at work in the world.
Son.